Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, it's
Episode
great to be here.
episode 4. Can you believe that?
It's moving very rapidly.
Yes, rapid, right? But so, welcome, everybody. I'm James Collins. I'm the president and founder of Heroes in the Sky Foundation. We are joined by Sean Hibbard, the man, the myth, the legend behind Nautical Salute, right?
It's something. Yep, founder and executive director of Nautical Salute.
Right. So, welcome to Breaking the Silence Together, the Aftermath of Suicide podcast. Tonight's episode is titled The Mask We Wear. But before we get into that, I do want to say thank you to our sponsors, the American Legion Post 135 in Savannah, Georgia. You'll notice they're in the top right, left up there. You'll see their logo up there. But the American Legion Post 135 is located in historic downtown Savannah, Georgia, at 1108 Bull Street. They are a member of the largest veteran service organization in the nation. They were founded on the principles of service to our veterans, to our community, state, and nation. Their membership is open to any veteran who has served honorably and to active duty service members. They are home to the local 1110, Betty Bombers, Brighter Day, Centennial Bean, and Lee Chai. And their bar is also open to the public throughout the week. They hold several events in their ballroom each year that are open to the public. And here's the best part, Sean. If you're in Savannah, Georgia, or you're thinking about doing an event in Savannah, Georgia, their ballroom is for rent. So if you're in, you want to use that space. It's a beautiful space in the American Legion Post and beautiful downtown Savannah. Contact our friends over at the American Legion Post 135. And there you go. So I think we got a good episode tonight, Sean. I think
I think it's going to be one that a lot of veterans can relate to.
I think we've outdone ourselves. What you think?
Well, I'm definitely thinking that we're gonna not ruffle feathers, but make a lot of connections where people can kind of relate to it.
Right. Okay.
So why don't you tell me what it's about?
All right. So I guess we're talking about the mask that we all wear when we're dealing with our emotional trauma and our post-traumatic stress. And we hide these feelings and these emotions, behind this so-called mask very well to some of us, right?
Yeah.
But some of us,
it's one of those things that, like, whether it's a fake smile, it's the I'm fine and I'm just going to shrug it off, right? Like no one needs to really see the cracks in my emotional armor, or the version of ourselves with the world, doesn't see how we're falling apart underneath the surface. So
right. Okay.
I like to call it the community. I like to call it the community effect in a lot of ways.
Right.
Just fitting into whatever environment it is, keeping our emotions down, and just existing.
Right. And I think what's important here is we need to highlight and focus how well some of us have become at hiding this pain. We're almost experts at deceiving the public of how we're really feeling emotionally and mentally.
Well, it's kind of like how, like, when people say, "Oh, you're a disabled vet. What's wrong with you?"
Right.
It's like, well, I don't go around just broadcasting, except for my license plate does say I'm a disabled vet, right? So
right. Yeah,
that's one way. But they don't see the outside of the physical things that are obvious. They don't see the other thing that's hidden beneath the layers of our skin and in our brains, and the torment and the trauma that kind of just stays right there, either at surface level, above, or right below.
Right. And here's what's really important. Because as you serve your country, you serve your nation, you serve, whether you are a first responder, the uniform you wore does not matter.
Nope.
What we're really starting to learn is when you raise your hand or you serve this nation as a public safety official, you pay and almost sacrifice with your life. And sometimes that sacrifice is seen when we lose warriors in the line of duty. Sometimes that sacrifice is seen when we lose warriors by their own hand due to their trauma. But most often we lose our warriors gradually over time to this so-called mask that we all wear, and we hide our demons so well that people around us don't know they're there. And it,
I'm gonna deviate real quick because we have some people that have tuned in or watching, and I kind of want to highlight a few little comments that people who are listening are responding to some of the things that we're saying. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to read a couple things from Michael Van Buren, aka Boomer. He says it's easier to pretend things are okay than to explain to someone who only cares in that moment. That's spot on, right? And then the second thing, go ahead, respond to that.
The energy it takes to, if you were to portray or let somebody know how deep you were really feeling or how emotionally strained you were really feeling, that would be a task. And like, it makes perfect sense that if someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, are you okay?" "I'm fine." That's the easiest way out.
I mean, how many times that's what we say at the VA? "I'm fine. I'm okay." But they write that down. That means something totally different to them than it does to us or another brother or sister who kind of gets that. It's like, how many times have you in your relationships, you'd be like, "Is everything okay?" "I'm fine." Well, "I'm fine" is not a positive thing.
No. No.
Yeah. Whew.
For those listening, if you have a loved one that is a veteran or first responder and they use that term quite frequently, please know most of the time there's something deeper there.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna figure out an acronym for FINE that we can break down, and it'll come to me. But that'll have meaning. And I can tell you from personal experience, I got great at pretending.
Oh, you got great at pretending. How about we're still great at pretending?
Well, exactly. Yeah, no, that is Rich's phrase in the comments. "I'm fine."
And I want to welcome in. And I'm sorry if I mess up your name. Last name is Cruz. Thank you for joining us and joining our live stream. We're glad you're here, and glad that you're watching us. And there's another comment down here, Sean, that most people don't understand the mental disability that comes with service.
Yeah.
But I wonder why.
Yeah. I think with all my years of experience and your years of experience and being in leadership, right, it comes down to just simplicity of, it's easier to just Charlie Mike and move on and treat everything emotional as a speed bump.
Right.
I'm going to get through it, so I'm just going to go ahead and blow past it at 40 miles an hour, when I should really drop down to about 5 miles an hour, take my time, make sure I don't do any damage. And
right. Yeah. Hey, wow. We got an acronym. Thank you, Jen. I'm going to read this, and this, I'm not going to apologize for this because there was a warning content for you came in here. So we're going to read this exactly like this is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So, fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's some strong letters.
Jen, get out of my head, because she has to live with me, so she's describing me. No truer words spoken.
I know. And then I'm thinking we need to keep that around. Thank you, Jen, for future episodes start. So when people start talking about I'm fine, let's put some real meaning to it.
Hey, welcome in. You know, why can't we print that on the back of a card?
Let's make a shirt with that.
We can absolutely do that,
dude.
And we'll just do the asterisks and different things like that.
What, dude? Let's make a shirt with with Nautical Salute, Heroes in the Skies logo on it, maybe on the sleeves, and that be the back of the shirt. Or we use the podcast official logo on the front and make that the back of the shirt.
We could.
Well, see, welcome in, Chrissy. Thank you for joining us. Welcome in, Philomena
and Jessica.
Yes, that's awesome. So what?
Cruise.
You got. Yes.
You know, I kind of like this aspect of it, being able to interact a little bit.
I do.
And, yes. You know, because this will also kind of help keep some of the conversation realistic as well to our audience who are, you know, veterans, spouses, supporters. I think it's important to kind of hear a piece of their voice within it. That interactive piece is key.
Absolutely.
And staying where we're at here currently, you know, we're talking about the mask, right? Hiding some of those things like our reactions, hiding to either fireworks, loud noises, masking our position in areas to maintain hypervigilance. We've talked about that last week a good bit, was the hypervigilance piece. But those are all masking issues that we're dealing with because we're still in that operator mindset, and it's that fear, right? So we have a guest later today that's going to really kind of emphasize the fine message, I think, because it's SFH. So, you know, yeah, talking about that, like what are some things, James, you know, moving back to you a little bit about after, like, you know, pretending, you know, being exhausted, but pretending that you're still going to go. Like after that, what do you think are some further add-ons to that?
There's this one hits home for me as far as the mask, because I suffer significantly with nightmares and flashbacks, and trying to pretend that I don't have those, or trying to mask the fact that while I'm in public at any point, if one of those triggers goes off, I'm on the ground holding my head screaming. And when those things happen, people treat you like you're not a person. Like they look at you different. They you know, and they don't understand how to I think it's the fact that we don't have enough training or conversations with the civilian sector about when a veteran is triggered, this is the steps you should take. Because you know, many times I've been triggered laying on the ground from a softball hitting the top of a dugout behind me, and I didn't know it was coming, and people were trying to just run up on me and grab me or touch, you know, make sure I was okay. When in reality, that's the worst thing you could ever do.
But at the same time, is it the community's responsibility to react to us, or is it?
No.
I mean,
no.
So knowing those people that are closest to us, you know, if they're with us, I think they would do a pretty good job at saying, you know, just leave them alone a little bit, give them some space, don't crowd them. For me, Jen will often be like, she knows when I'm getting worked up and I'm having issues, and she just kind of jumps in and just takes control, I guess you can kind of say, hey, I got this. You just kind of take the time you need. I'll deal with this knucklehead.
Yeah, and Jess is really good about that. The more they're around it and they understand it, and two, you know, that's the mask that we wear. We have to start dealing with some of these emotions that we're trying to hide, because while we're in public, we should really be trying to get a better grip on our emotions and our behaviors. And I don't know, it's really difficult sometimes, but surrounding yourself with the right people, and especially making sure that the ones closest to you, I think you just hit something right on the head on the nail, right? The ones closest to you that are always around you, that you trust the most, they know how to deal with those triggers. They know how to notice those to maybe pull you out of them or maybe make you feel safe when you're going through those things.
Yeah. Philomena posted, James, and I think you should definitely address and take that comment, because this definitely is in your specialty and wheelhouse here.
Okay. I'm going to read this if you don't mind. Okay. She put it in here. It's been 9 months since my son made his choice. Days before I found he would say he was good. I would invite him over for dinner. He would say he was good. Checked in on him and he would respond he was good. I beat myself up because I never went to his house or followed up with him. It breaks my heart. I don't hold, and I know that this is hard to answer because this is, dealing with a loved one and when mental health. But that fine word, I mean, not often do people give us signs. And that's one of the things that we struggle with. And that's why I say not to beat yourself up, is because in most cases, when we lose people to their own hand, they didn't leave signs. And if the signs were there, they were very subtle. They weren't, hey, I'm in trouble. Red flags weren't raised. It was,
they got good at hiding and masking to protect that piece of them that they didn't want the world to see, especially their loved ones.
Correct. And sometimes too, I can tell you personally, my personal story is I've survived two attempts, and both of my attempts came from fractured relationships, but I really felt like I was a burden to my family. And that's a complete myth. Let's go ahead and put that out there right now. It is a complete myth that you are a burden to your family, because you are never a burden to your family. You are never a burden to those that love you, your battle buddies, those that believe in you, and you never will be a burden. But in that emotional toll, or that emotional cone of distress, as I like to call it, when you can't see anything but your mental pain, you don't see that. And it's the farthest from the truth. And I just want to say, I want to thank Philomena for coming in here and opening up and having the courage to talk about this, because the tragedy she's dealing with, a lot of people would tuck tail and run, or they would just hide.
Definitely shy away from it. Absolutely.
Right. But she's in here talking about it openly. So I can really appreciate that. And I want our audience to just lift her up and lift her family up for the courage that she has. And I hope I answered that response, but it's hard to answer that.
I think the fact that, part of the mission that, Heroes in the Sky has is about the education as well, and being there in the aftermath for the families, to help not only process, right, but, relieve some of that burden that they may carry of the weight of, maybe I should have done more, I could have done more, and I didn't. Right. But it's just not always possible. Welcome in, Kelly. Antonio says, I use my kids and I focus on them, like literally laser focus. Bring them everywhere with me. As crazy as it may seem, it helps. Look, it sounds like to me, Antonio, that you have put in a measure in place that serves two purposes, right? One, you love your kids, and spending time with them is never a bad thing.
Absolutely.
The closer you hold them tight and show them that you love them, it should feed some of that back to you. But I need you to listen to this. It's okay to love yourself too. And we don't always know how to do that. It's something that I'm going to encourage you to take time and pull the best pieces of what you get out of that. And just also look at the positive things in yourself. Because in my darkest days, I've been learning how to love myself and even affirm that to myself, that I'm worthy of that.
Right. Yeah, you're worthy of. So most often, and I have a really bad. I'm I'm telling on myself in here tonight. So, a lot of times I suffer with a diminished value of self-worth. And my self-worth, that diminished value comes from so much before, where just losing a relationship with children or just so many other things that I felt I could have done better at. But what I'm starting to learn over time is we can use this example in anything we do. Our personal failures sometimes they can beat us up. They can drown us, right? Or we could try to use them as stepping stones where, and I could be the first to tell you I probably need to take this advice because I have beaten myself up so much over so many things. But when you go through tragedy and then there's trauma present, a lot of times we will diminish our self-worth because we feel like we didn't do enough or we didn't say the right things, when in reality if the signs weren't there for you to see, it would have been hard for you to know what to say anyway.
Right.
And that's just the reality of what we're talking about, of mental health. And so, you have to try to focus. Like, I love this idea of self-worth and self-love, that, you have to be you outside of all the vices you put. Right. So,
well, the great thing about our guest later is that is one of the principles and platforms that they utilize for their company that they run, and even the lives that they produce. Is it's about self-worth. It's about taking the time. When you spent years trying to maintain that control over your emotions, finally opening up can feel both freeing and scary as hell.
Absolutely.
Scary because you don't know what people are going to do with it.
And you're vulnerable.
Yeah. So, when you're exploring that, you're looking at, grief, and you're looking at, fear of judgment or becoming a burden. Like, it's like,
yeah,
I'm just going to close down.
Well, and then most oftentimes what people don't see is the value of courage, right? Courage most often comes with self-doubt. It comes out with, you're opening yourself up for people to, say certain things, or for you to have to deal with certain things. And you have to be ready to own that courage and say, you know what? I know I have problems, or I know I'm struggling with this, but this is my mental health. Like, this is, I'm the one reliving it every day in our heads. Like, and a lot of things, what people don't see is what we actually live through in our heads. And so we have to learn to deal with those emotions. And sometimes that's really hard. But it takes courage. It takes courage to open up, to admit that there might be a problem, or you might have some issues.
Thinking about some of those emotions, right? Whether it's grief, guilt, oftentimes anger, and fear, and the memories also of like survivor's guilt that continue to play a part in everyday life. Why am I here? Why they are not? And it should have been me. Or and even opening up and expressing those also give control to other people to either exploit it, embrace it, or help be part of the healing.
Right.
And I hope that people have someone that's a loved one that they can turn to, whether it's family member, a friend, a battle buddy, a service member that they've grown close with. Hopefully there's somebody out there that people feel comfortable enough being vulnerable with about.
Right. Well, with vulnerability, like you said, you just used the perfect word, is fear. Because fear of judgment, right? We talk about that. How are people going to see me looking weak? That the looking weak part is probably one of my biggest pet peeves with mental health. And I try to explain that very, very openly, because it baffles my mind that someone can call you weak because you openly admit that you're having mental health struggles, and you're still fighting your demons every day. You're not letting those demons win. You're and emotionally you could be just hurting, but you never let the demons win. What sign of that is weakness? Where does weakness come into that? Because when I look at it, that's a sign of strength and resilience, because you're not giving up.
But what does history tell us, though, James? History tells us that a man, to be strong, needs to bear the weight of the world on his shoulders and his back, shut up and drive on. Mike in the comments says, I also feel as a man that we're looked down on for our mental health. Also, like we are expected to just deal with everything and never have any chips on our armor. And if we do, we are less than. I mean, okay, I just read that. You need to get out of my head because I just said that. And that's the crazy part about, you must have been reading some of my books, Mike. So that's one of those things. And welcome in, Cooper. Wow, I tell you, we've already been live, for almost 30 minutes, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface, man.
Oh, we are, and I think having other inputs in here for us to discuss has opened this conversation up significantly, and I love the way where it's going. I like that we're involving other people in our community that may need to hear a word of encouragement, or maybe they can offer a word of encouragement. Maybe we can be inspired by something that somebody comes in here and says.
Well, and just the little things, right? How many times are people listening to us, but they don't actually hear either us or somebody else that has a positive message or has experience with something that could then help them. So I'm going to say that again, guys. Just because you're listening doesn't always mean you're hearing. Mm-hmm. And that's the key. Take the time, like the speed bump, slow down. Don't roll past it fast because you might destroy some stuff. Take the time, slow down, go over it, process it, share it with your loved one, and then you can Charlie Mike with it.
Yeah. Well, here's another one. Nobody is weak when being real about life's test. Strength is reaching out when there is a need. Well, I think is identifying the need. And I think we need to start highlighting the fact that we need to start making it a priority where we start focusing on our needs, right?
Yeah.
Focus on your own needs, because how many times that I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been in the nonprofit sector and mental health sector for 8 years. We've helped 170 we've honored 170 families and helped 100 and their families and their warriors. And I most commonly hear, well, you're doing all this stuff for other people. What are you doing for yourself? And I can't answer that. Because
let me answer that a little bit for you, because you don't know it, but you're surrounding yourself with people who have a shared vision and mission that's also going to show up for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're building your support team for you. Yep. And the more you get to know somebody and learn their little idiosyncrasies and how, the tone of their voice changes, or when they're high, they're low, you're doing something special, brother. And I'm blessed to be along this journey with you.
Well, when we talk about the families, right? Look at the families we have in the comments. Opening up having the courage to open up to us. That's why we do what we do as the families, because oftentimes when we lose warriors to suicide, that trauma and that grief does not go away. It transfers directly to our families, who are then expected to not only deal with their trauma and their loss, they're dealing with the demons that just got transferred to them.
Yeah.
And that's important for us to start. How do we advocate for those families? What can we do to give them a voice, to give them an identity, so they feel like they are worthy, that they are wanted, so they don't follow in the steps of the elevated suicide risk for families once a warrior's lost to suicide? Like, what are we doing? And that's what drives me with Heroes in the Sky, is what am I doing for the families?
Yeah.
You know, what?
You know, so Marty's in the chat, and I've got to highlight this because it couldn't be better said. I think it's a double-edged sword, you know, on the men versus women. Like, men are told to be strong without feeling their emotions, but as a woman, it's difficult because people don't expect females to have part of it cut off, but have I guess, the ability or the strength, right? But you know what? I think oftentimes, as females typically being the nurturer, I think it's emotions kind of expected, and I think more attention also needs to be paid, you know, to the female voice as a veteran and first responders and family members, right? Because think about this: as we go through our stuff, it's not uncommon for us to know this. Who takes the brunt of the veterans' demons? It's the family.
The families.
Whether it's male and female,
right?
It is.
The spouses, the brothers, the sisters, the ones closest to them. And I personally, I mean, I kind of share my story about what my wife has had to deal with, but I wouldn't think it was so severe until I was staring at a window holding a loaded pistol because I thought someone was coming in my house for 3 nights. But and I can't be the only one that has those episodes where other spouses and other family members are put under some kind of stress because they're trying to understand that warrior who has post-traumatic stress. And they're trying to do their best to be there for him, but that's not an easy role.
Well, and with post-traumatic stress also often is coupled by depression. And, you know, they don't really talk about this a whole lot, but the functional depression, right? Where you still go to work because there's an obligation or a feel of an obligation. There's the showing up at family functions, showing up to work, showing up to your kids' baseball games or softball games, whatever it be, participating, but still being just a shell of that person, of having that mask on, you know, because that's the whole purpose of this episode today, is really living with the mask and the fake smiles.
Right.
We also said, you know, oftentimes the funniest people in the room are the ones that, you know, die by suicide. And you think it's a shock, but stop and look at the Robin Williamses and, you know, the battle buddies that were always goofing off down range and just being silly, the class clowns. I mean, it's overwhelming, actually.
It's those ones that always check on other people. It's those ones that always seem to have it together. It's always that you think they're the strongest person in the room, but physically and mentally they're not. Like, mentally they're not as strong as you think they are, and that's why we lose our warriors to suicide. And because we're so good at hiding these masking these emotions, it often does come up as a shock of, I can't believe that. We got a comment down here real quick and I'll just paraphrase it, of, you know, this, how painful the struggle really is and how many unanswered questions that were produced because their warrior died by suicide.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't seen it themselves, then they wouldn't believe it was real. That's powerful. The amount of trauma that produces.
That's frighteningly powerful. At the end of the day, like, I don't want to shy away from how major of an impact, some of you guys make, and yeah, you do carry these burdens, right? Think of it like this. What happens to a house that is not lived in, that's not maintained? The outside can look strong and sturdy, but the bones start breaking down if you neglect it.
Yeah.
It's a fact. If you don't live in a house and take care of it, a house starts crumbling and dying.
Mm-hmm.
While you don't the outside is the last to go.
You don't see that from the outside.
Nope.
No. And that emotional shell that we put around ourselves, we think that people can't see through. The ones closest to you can see through it. There's times when I've been at my lowest and maybe you've reached out, or when I disappeared from TikTok for like 3 months and people are like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like sometimes you do get the people around you that notice your behaviors and your mannerisms and know when you're not okay. They can see through that shell.
Yeah, comment down there, Rich, and I can't help but want to just scoop them up. I can't help but want to scoop everybody up either.
Right.
Not trying to save them, but just show up for them.
Right. Well, I've attempted 3 times in my life and had the thoughts a dozen times and nobody knew about it. Well, I'm glad you failed 3 times. Okay. I have failed twice. And anyone else in here listening to us, we want to celebrate the failures, especially in this context. If you're still here fighting, or you got a loved one that's still here fighting, let's celebrate their failures.
Yeah. Marty, you bring up a very, very good point. If people don't check on you and they don't really care, or you don't think they care about you, how long would it be before somebody checked on somebody? And I know randomly, Marty, it's been a while, haven't heard from you. I've definitely reached out to some of you guys, not patting myself on the back, but just checking in, doing a good pulse check, because you know what? Not because I fear like something bad's going to happen, but it's good for people to show up for you. And we're here in about 5 minutes. We're going to be taking a break, and when we come back, and we're going to be bringing up a special guest, Lance Price with SFH. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up. Until the break here in 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and respond to a few more comments, if you don't mind, James.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's read some more. So I see some comments down here that I like this one too. The only time that failure is an option is when we're talking about this. You know what? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that one. And, I see it in here that, let's try to find some more comments. There's one in here about manic, people checking on you or not checking on you if you just disappear, so you have to.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I am thoroughly enjoying this comment section and people interacting with us. I don't know about you, but I am thoroughly enjoying this, and I hope that those listening will share this out, and more of y'all will join our podcast and come in here and share your thoughts, because it's really powerful and moving to me that.
Yeah, I saw Kelly pop in earlier. I don't know if she's still here or not, but
right.
It's so many people that we've all come close with. We have to show up for each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because sometimes that battle buddy's all you got. Sometimes that battle buddy that knows you the best is the first one that sees the signs of distress, and they're the ones that need to act. Because if it's someone that's not around you all the time, that may not notice that you're acting differently, they don't know any different. But someone like you that knows me very well, you're going to be, or my wife or Jen that we've become family with, y'all would be the first ones to say, "Hey, something's going on here. This isn't right." And reach out and be there and just and show a presence. And that's what we all need to do, is show a presence for those around us that we love. and let them know that they're worthy, that they're worthy to be here. They're not a burden, and to tell them to stay so they don't, so we don't lose them to their mental health.
So just to kind of be completely open and transparent, I think some of you may have heard excerpt on maybe TikTok or something like that of a spoken word song that I had done. So here in a couple of minutes, we're going to be playing the full song in its entirety. And
Yes.
We definitely want you to kind of just take it all in, because it is a journey. It's about being in our darkest places and then also still having hope. You know, I never want to be doom and gloom, and neither one of us do. But at the same time, you got to acknowledge the past and the present in order to not dwell on it, but use those pieces so that you can go forward and just be ready to live versus surviving.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Jen's comments real quick. You go ahead and read that. It's better to come from you since she's my spouse.
As a family member, it is important to get to know the battle buddies, know who you can call for backup. Absolutely. Jen, I know from the time we've met with y'all that if anything ever comes up, I know who to call and I know who's going to check on me. And there's another one in here. Ryan's in here. I cannot go without. This is my brother. I grew up with him, and he has been there for me. Even though we haven't lived in the same state for years, he's always checked up on me. He's always been that presence. And I probably wouldn't be here today without him. And so thank you, Ryan, for being in here. And amazing, dude. Amazing. Cooper.
All right. Yeah.
Jen, everybody in here, even if we don't know you, thank you for coming in here. Thank you for having courage to come talk to us and tell your story. And y'all keep it up as we keep going lives. Y'all share this out, and let's fill these lobbies, and let's get this all across the United States. Can y'all do that for us?
All right. I guess without further ado, we're going to go to commercial break. Watch this video, and Lance, be ready when you come back.
Yep.
Like sitting in the truck too long after work, because home felt safer when the engine was still running. Like staring at a grocery store aisle, trying to remember why your heart suddenly started racing. Like waking up at 2:13 in the morning, sweating through memories you never asked to keep. See, they trained us to survive the battlefield, but nobody really taught us how to survive ourselves afterward. Nobody talked about how trauma follows you home wearing civilian clothes, how it hides in fireworks, crowded rooms, empty bottles, divorce papers, missed phone calls, and the sentence, "I'm fine." Especially that sentence. I know veterans who carried entire teams on deployment, but struggle to carry groceries inside the house now. Men and women who could navigate chaos overseas, but can't navigate their own thoughts when the room gets quiet. And still, they wake up. Still, they fight. That matters. You hear me? That matters. Because hope isn't always loud. Sometimes hope is just making the appointment, answering the phone, talking for the first time, saying, "No, I don't think I'm okay." That's courage too. Maybe even the purest kind. See, the world loves the image of the warrior, but healing asks something harder. It asks the warrior to become human again, to let people in, to trust again, to stop apologizing for wounds nobody can see. And that process, it's ugly sometimes. There are setbacks, bad nights, anger that shows up uninvited, days where depression feels heavier than body armor ever did. But there are also moments, small moments, where light gets through. A kid's laugh, a sunrise after a sleepless night, brothers and sisters sitting around a table finally telling the truth. A stranger saying, "Me too." That's where healing begins. Not in pretending the trauma never happened, but in realizing the trauma doesn't get to write the ending. You survived war. You survived loss. You survived becoming someone you barely recognized. Now comes the hardest mission of all, believing you deserve peace too. And maybe peace doesn't mean forgetting. Maybe peace is learning that your scars are not proof you're broken. They're proof you kept going. So to every veteran still fighting battles nobody sees, you are not weak for needing help. You are not forgotten. And your story, it is not over.
Wow. Welcome back. All right, let's go ahead and get Lance added up in here.
I'm trying.
It says he's.
Yeah.
I think we have to change the format. We have to change the format.
Wait. I got you.
Boom. There
Hey.
we go.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Good.
There we go.
All right, let's
Look at Sean.
I don't know how to do this yet. So we're still playing with some of the bugs now that we've got 3 in here. We got to figure out how we.
Well, so you're just gonna have to play with see which one feels
go.
right. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, we're all the
Boom.
same size.
Boom.
So
Welcome in, Lance.
Thanks. Before we get too far into it, I was listening to you guys, and I'm gonna say those masks, that we wear and anything, throw those motherfuckers out the window, because you're getting in your own way. Let's do this.
Right. I love the analogy. Yes.
So Lance, man, I tell you what you guys do is phenomenal. And for those listening, I
We were
would
just
love
supposed to be a t-shirt brand, bro.
you tell us a little bit about the concept, a little bit about who you are specifically and what you've done in the past and why SFH came about and kind of what your all's mission is.
Yeah, absolutely. I did 18 years before getting medically retired as TBI and PTS. When I got out, I wanted to continue to serve, and I partnered with multiple nonprofits, and the majority of the nonprofits that I partnered with was not doing what they said they were going to do. And of course, my conscience kicks in, and if you're not going to do what you want to do, I don't want to put my name on a label that the right things aren't being done. My friends had a concept to come up with a t-shirt brand, and a good friend of mine, Tyler Southern, first triple amputee American to survive Afghanistan, came up with a phrase that we've all said time and time again. We are still fucking here. Wow, that just happened, but we are still fucking here. And it stuck. And then we went with SFH, and from there we got the EKG, which, as you can tell, is a systole pause and then the heartbeat coming back. The reason for that is Ty's heart stopped over a dozen times on the table, but his resilience led through, and that's the reason between the Live Out of Spite and the heart on our very first design that we have. And since then, our goal is just to reach out to people and let them know no matter what lurch you're in, you're not alone. If you're in that darkness, there is a way out, no matter what walk of life you're in. Not just, we're veterans, yes, so the veteran community found us first, but there's so many more out there that need our help, whether it's PTS, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's human trafficking, we've had the opportunity to work with organizations that work with all of those things. And how did we do that? We were just ourselves. We told our story, and people got behind what we started. Like I said, it was a clothing brand. The brand became a mission. The mission has now became a community, and it's just like continuing to grow. And now Ty and I travel around the U.S. and do motivational speaking and share our stories and sell our clothing lines. We partner with all different nonprofits across the U.S., and 50% of the net proceeds goes back to that nonprofit at every event that we're at.
Awesome.
So there's the nutshell.
Yeah. So we've got some comments coming in there. It sounds like there's a bleeding in the mic, but we're working to address it. So,
Okay, is that on my end?
it
Yeah.
sounds like it
Is that better?
a little bit, but
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know
All
if
right.
it sounded when you were further away from it, because there were times when you were speaking that the clarity was a lot better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So-
it may be just the game.
Don't ask me to figure out technology, guys. I just joined the podcast, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll deal with it, but at the same time, the positivity aspect, of the lives that you run on TikTok and such, and when you speak at different events and such, where does that positivity come from? Number one, and number two, did you just wake up one day and say, "This is our mission. This is what I want to do"? Like, what gave you that drive to say, "I'm gonna do this now"?
I don't know if it was a drive or if it was just the passion of wanting to continue to help others, but not really knowing how to do that. But it kind of came about itself. Like I said, we were just supposed to be a t-shirt brand, but the name took off, and why the name was what it was took off to the point that we couldn't keep it a secret anymore. What's that?
I was just Natalie Brett has just joined, so.
Okay. Is it any better now?
So I'm hearing comments to see if you backed away from it. If it does it, I don't know that.
Okay.
Could be.
Does that work?
That's a little better.
It is a little
A
better.
little better? Then hold on. How was that?
I think we can roll with that. I mean, I don't
Okay.
think it's going to be perfect, but it does sound
All right.
like it's the.
Now you're
further
gonna have to
you
ask the question again because I have no idea what we're talking about.
No.
Yeah, just about how like at what point with your positivity, the walks you do, the messages that you post, and even how you work with people. Like, at what point did you wake up and say, you know what? It's my
Oh,
time
you don't
to
just
do
wake
this.
up and become positive, especially not through all the darkness. Many years of darkness and many years of staying in my way and choosing to be around people that were in that same darkness with me. So it felt comfortable, and realizing that there's no comfort in the possibility of losing your wife and your children because of the demons that you face. And we started trying to get answers, and we went through years of mental health appointments, all different types. One of the biggest results that I've had is the stellate ganglion block shot, which is a shot in the neck. And the theory behind it is it puts to sleep the fight or flight nerve. And when it wakes back up, it is not as agitated. So it's easier to be more in control of your PTS symptoms than them controlling you. That has been a major turn for me and gives me the ability to do what I do now as far as running the ins and outs of a business like We Are SFH, helping other nonprofits and other businesses that I have my hands in as well.
Now, in with that, I'm sure that there are days when you don't feel up to it to kind of, be out there and be rah. But when you do make a decision on those days to do it, what's the driving factor behind that?
That's the hardest part. There isn't a driving factor. It's discipline. It's do it anyway. It's push yourself out there and do it anyway. The hard days are going to come. How you face those hard days are up to you. If you lay in bed and don't face them, you're going to end up in that dark tunnel that I was talking about with no way out. So when I say a lot of problems, a lot of issues that we have as veterans, and I think first responders as well, we don't get out of our own way. We get so used to taking care of everyone else, we don't realize that it's time to take care of us now. And before you can take care of others, you've got to take care of yourself. And we didn't realize that for a very long time. And now we are.
It's kind of ironic that it's pretty much a lot of, with wearing the mask and taking care of other people and showing up for other people and not taking care of yourself. That was like the first part of the show, a big portion of it, right? And being okay with not being okay and asking for help or just showing up. I know for me, if I have to ask somebody to show up for me, I'm not going to ask.
I'm just going to do it. Or it's not going to get done, one or the other.
Or it's not going to get done. Right. But then again, it's like.
But then I can be mad at me. I don't have to be mad at anybody else. I know where you're going with that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're all guilty of that. Well, I don't know if we're all guilty of that. I think the veteran mentality and the first responder mentality, we're all guilty of that, though.
Yeah. James, has there been a time in the last year? Well, actually, that's too far back. Has there been a time in the last 3 months where you have found yourself kind of struggling and, you've had to kind of force yourself to just show up because you didn't want to let somebody down or you had an obligation, but you really didn't want to?
Mine started back when this new conflict started. I'm going to just be honest. I have not been okay since conflict has started back in the Middle East. And I do explain that. It's, yes, I was an Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran, but what people fail to realize is all of the munitions, all of the explosives that were provided to that theater of country that they were using to blow us up with IEDs were provided by Iran. And I get triggered by that because I remember seeing the writing on the side of some of those munitions. And just this new conflict there have been days it spiraled me where I have not wanted to do anything, but I know I had to. I know that there's some days I don't feel like driving 4 hours, right? But I have to drive 4 hours to see my family and be there for people. There are days I don't feel like going to work or I don't feel like, whatever it may be. But when I go to work, I actively get to help people and help them with their mental health. So yeah, there are a lot of times where mentally I'm just suffering inside, but I just walk it off like people expect us to and continue the mission. But what I'm going with this though is that is very dangerous because the longer we do that, the longer we mask it, it builds up and it becomes a bigger problem than we already didn't want to deal with.
Absolutely.
And then you have to rely on your battle buddies that are close to you to notice that, oh, he's not okay. Like, cause when you
stag that wall so high, you can't get past it after so long.
It's you start going into isolation because of like that trauma starts when it builds up to that point and isolation is the byproduct. That's where your battle.
But you cause that isolation by allowing it to stack up because you're building that wall that's putting you in that isolation. You are closing yourself in.
Yep. And we always do. And I've done that to myself multiple times over the years.
Oh, we're human. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
Think back tactically, right? 2,500 repetitions for something to become muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
2,500.
Yes.
So therefore,
it only takes 3 days to create a habit.
Exactly. So therefore, habits become lifestyles. And a lifestyle is what changes because that habit has set in,
Mhm.
and you've got that muscle memory of the effort, the reaching out. And I'm going to challenge people who are listening to find a battle buddy or a support person that doesn't have one right now, right? Or that is like, and if you need to, reach out to one of us.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
But remember this: the hardest work to ever be done in something is the work that you have to do
Mhm.
to change it.
And the silver lining's always there. You're just not looking
Yep.
hard enough.
The recognition, that you have to recognize that it is your responsibility to pull a lot of times to pull yourself out of those dark holes.
Yes, we are responsible for the
Yeah.
majority of our suffering, and we have to get out of our own way.
Because
Lance,
it's
can Lance, can you see the chat? I don't know
I
if you
can.
can or not on the side. Okay. Cooper, I just want to read this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like that. She says, "I've got me. It's hard to seek help from others, and when I don't feel welcome, I won't be around." That is probably some of the strongest statements that anybody. If you don't feel welcome, why in the hell am I going to go in there?
Yeah.
Or why am I going to show up? I want to be around people.
Why
who
put
are
myself
lifting
in
me up.
that situation? Yeah.
It's not fun.
Absolutely. No. Because you just feel like people are judging you, or you feel like, I don't know, when I go into those crowds like that where I just don't feel welcome, I feel like, one, I don't like crowds, but two, if something were to happen or something were to trigger me, I'm in a room full of a whole bunch of strangers that they're just going to look at me in some kind of awkward way and not even understand what's really happening. And that is a level of discomfort for anyone.
And that's why everyone deserves their small support team that they have, because we all need that sometimes.
Yeah.
That reassurance.
For those listening, and I don't even know if I told you this, Jay, I think I've mentioned this to you, but for those listening, Lance with SFH has actually been on the backside and he's getting ready. I don't know if he pushed it out or not, but he has accepted his role as an advisory member to Nautical Salute because, one, he is in the veteran space. Two, he's a business owner. And three, he's got a message of positivity, and he's going to cut out a lot of the BS of it. And you know what? We need more people to build a coalition. Think of it as like our own little coalition of doers, right? Of doers, people that are going to show up, people that are going to put the things on their back and say, you know what? I'm okay saying that I'm not.
It's a community, man. We weren't built to go at anything alone. So why do people continue to try to do it? Because I'm going to tell you, I did it for a few years, and doing it alone, it ain't possible. So stop.
No.
The camaraderie is the word we use, right? That was the word that was used in the military. But we've transitioned out of the military, and where we're living, the people that is community. Yeah. Camaraderie is community. It's just now.
And we're still here, and we owe it to those that aren't to do a positive thing and do the right thing for one another. Bottom line.
Yes.
We serve them. We serve those who are no longer here. We speak their name, and we continue to serve others in their names. You know what I mean? That's just it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that go ahead.
Speaking their names is really important.
Yeah.
But what people don't see is, yes, we speak their names that are no longer here. But who is the population that you don't talk about behind that? Their families.
The ones that are still,
They're the ones that are dealing with the trauma or dealing with the tragic loss, whether that be to suicide or any, falling in the line of duty. Either way, we really need to start making a movement to focusing on these families. And I love what you just said. We owe it to those ones not here to be the best we can be, to keep honor and recognition in their name. But part of honor and recognition is recognizing that family left behind that's that's
I don't
carrying
disagree.
that's carrying that legacy forward.
Absolutely.
That we have to show them they're worthy, that they are valuable. We got a good conversation going, but we always throw some statistics in here, and because that's kind of what we do with our education, right? So
Yep.
let's talk about veteran suicide, just veteran suicide, right? And if you're in the comments, I encourage you to join us. I need someone, so right now we're at 44 veterans a day. Could be higher. We know it's not lower. We know 44 is the minimum. And we're going to lose 44 veterans a day. Well, each suicide is going to affect a minimum of 5 family members. Probably way more. We're just counting the minimum. And then each veteran suicide will affect 135 community members. Your battle buddies, your platoon sergeants, the ones that serve next to you, whatever they may be, your brother, your sister, your spouse. Now, Sean, anyone to do us a favor of multiplying those together, because this number is staggering, and then we're going to add one on top of it. So what is 44
Don't ask
times
this guy
5?
to do math.
That's right. 44 times
Sean's the
5
math guy. There we go.
times 135. You want to give us that answer?
I'm gonna show you.
What is that?
Oh, you did. You cheated. You used technology. I thought you had paper over there.
Yeah. 29.
I thought you were one of them real geniuses.
Yeah.
Damn.
44
29,000.
times 5 times 135. Because 5 is the family members, 135 is the community members. So every veteran suicide will affect 5 family members and a minimum of 135 community members. So you have to divide it by 135 or multiply by 135.
Yeah.
And then
29,700.
That's who's affected by veteran suicide every day. Right? Now, let's go to a year. So take 29,700 and multiply that by times 365. I want this one's going to get you. This is the problem with our veterans.
Cooper's on it.
Go ahead, Cooper. Hook us up. So 29,700 a day times 365 for a year. 10,840,500 people are affected by veteran suicide every year. 10 million people, over 10 million people. And we have not talked about first responders. We have not talked about any public safety officials. Do you know that most firefighters have reported responding to at least one suicidal call in their career, but some of them have reported at least 12 suicidal calls in their career? Can you imagine what that does to a firefighter over time in 12 years reporting to 12 suicides?
Yeah. That's staggering, because everybody does look at the veteran, right? And it's like this I don't want to say holy grail of it, right? But it's not just the veterans. And the veterans, while we do suffer from the PTS and the traumatic stuff, these first responders, police, firefighters, they deal with this on a daily basis. Yes. And oftentimes go home and have to be back in 6 to 10 hours later the next day to do it all over again.
Right. You want to take a guess how many law enforcement officers we lose every day? Or not every day. We lose a law enforcement officer every 17 hours of suicide. When's the last time anyone's ever talked about law enforcement officer suicide, or the fact that when we lose a law enforcement officer to suicide, most commonly they never get a full honor burial, and they're not even recognized in Washington D.C.'s National Monument for First Responders. They don't even count them. They're completely excluded.
That's unacceptable. And, but it's also, par for the course, right? Because there's, I want to say insurance reasons, things like that, where, military and veterans who potentially do have life insurance, not all of them do, but, unless they're active duty, we're not. But as a veteran, they have to purchase that, but there is at least some level of protection for them, but it's not for law enforcement and first responders.
No. So Lance, do you mind reading that last comment down there for us? I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, we might fight a war outside our borders. They're doing it inside on borders.
Yeah. So our public safety officials and our first responders are fighting the wars inside these borders. They're responding to calls every day with traumatic events, losing children in the having to deal with the loss of children, having to deal with suicidal calls. I don't know.
Is that
having it?
Anyway, go ahead.
I was looking at something over there.
There's a big moth. I was like,
no, something just like Mothra or something just went across his face,
Right?
man. I thought he was going to get ate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but it's the things that law enforcement or our first responders are exposed to: loss of children, loss due to suicide, irregular sleep patterns, all of the things that can diminish your mental health over time. They deal with every day.
Yeah, but the thing is the U.S. as a whole is in a mental health crisis. Our first responders and our veterans are even in a more mental health crisis because of the jobs that they do. Hell, even our nurses and doctors after COVID are in a worse situation. Teachers and there's so many. That's why we could not be a veterans only organization or company, because everyone falls in the lurch sometimes, and everyone deserves to have someone in their corner and to let them know that you're never alone. Like whatever you're going through, someone else has went through and can help you find that little gleam of light that gets you in the right direction. Because I talk about all the time, it's that pendulum. Either you got that pendulum of positivity or you got the pendulum of negativity. You choose each day which way your pendulum's going to flow. And you choose each day to do good or to come out negative. I tell people, open the door for someone or tell them good morning, because that starts a trickle effect, a positive trickle effect, opposed to that negative trickle effect that suicide has on people, because it causes a horrible trickle effect on the opposite direction of the pendulum.
I'm glad you said that, because think about you just opening the door for somebody or telling them good morning or doing something polite for somebody when you're going out through your day. You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know if that person is contemplating suicide, or they're going through a bad divorce, or they're going through a bad breakup, or whatever they're going through. You don't know what they're mentally dealing with. So that the smallest act of kindness we can do is just, hey, good morning, or let them know that they are valued, and it doesn't take much to do that. Like how long is that day does it take for you to open a door for somebody and say good morning, good afternoon? You know how many times I've went to the gas?
Seconds.
You know how many times
or just to send someone a smile across the way. If they look like they're frowning and you just smile at someone across the way in passing at a gas station or something, and you sometimes will literally see them light up like, that was toward me.
Yeah.
You just changed their whole fucking day.
Yeah. Or being silly, right? Like,
yeah, or just being silly.
Think about this. There's times I've been at the gas station and I've seen county sheriffs or law enforcement officers getting fuel. And I'll go over there and I'll just, hey, do you mind if I get you whatever they were going into the store to get? He said, oh, I'm just going to get a Monster coffee and this. I said, do you mind if I get that for you? Thank you for what you do. And I will go in there and I will buy that Monster coffee or whatever they were doing to start their shift or whatever they needed, and I would give it to them. And I don't know how much impact that had, but if they were just coming
TSA, remember when TSA, they weren't getting paid, right? And when we were traveling, we had like 6 water bottles, and they thought that, well, you can't take that with you. Oh no, these are for you guys. And to see some of their reactions, like, are you serious? Yeah, me and my wife are handing you these 6 water bottles because you deserve some type of something because we know you're not getting paid. So hopefully this, cheers you up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's that simple act.
Little acknowledgments, right? Of
Yeah.
just of human decency goes a long way.
Ryan just said that as well. Like the small things that we do that we are capable
I keep a pack of water bottles in my vehicle all the time. Only people that don't know me ask me why those water bottles are there. Because if I see a homeless or someone on the street or whatever, I grab a couple of water bottles and I hand it to them.
Right.
But guess what, veterans? Here's another key piece. It works just as well in your own home.
Yeah.
To your loved one, the one that's been there, been dealing with it. The little things, the small things of just saying, I appreciate you. I know I'm not always the easiest to deal with, but I
that part,
appreciate
because
you.
people think that they're so minute. People, what Cooper just said, people think that they're so minute that you can't see them. Everyone deserves the right to be seen, and everyone deserves the right to have someone in their corner. Bottom line.
Especially in your home. I love the way he's going with this because the ones in our home are the ones usually catching the brunt of what we're putting them through because of our post-traumatic stress.
The ones we love the most
are
the ones we hurt the most.
That is correct.
And remember this, when a 3-year-old's having a temper tantrum and crashing out at home, but they don't do it in public, the same exact reason. They're comfortable enough at home to be vulnerable and themselves. But that's not an excuse and that's not a pass, right? We as veterans need to also acknowledge, and like I said, do the small things, show up. And, and also, how about this? Why can't we start our day letting our spouse and our loved ones and even our kids know where we're at in our own headspace and be like, you know what, today I'm feeling a little rough. I'm starting off a little rocky, like communication, that is key in all of this.
Or even like, I mean, those that know my background know why, but I just throughout the day, if I'm having a bad day, I'll reach out to my wife because she's my confidant. I'm like, I'm not doing so hot. And she knows what to say, but but that's later. You find that and everything. But when she's not having a good day, she'll message me as well. It's just those common sweet gestures. If you're thinking it, oh, that would be sweet to do. Just do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Don't, because for the longest time I was like, yeah, that'd be really sweet to do, but I wouldn't do it. Just freaking do it. Mm-hmm. It's worth it. If you think it's going to be sweet, it probably is going to be sweet.
I've got an idea about something, James, and I talked about it last week. I can't do it today, but at some point I want to get this in there. I want to see about bringing some of those clips from that movie, right? About how families sometimes show up for veterans and how we don't always make it easy for them. From the movie Thank You for Your Service, because I do think that playing a snippet of that and getting a couple snippets to kind of show the general public.
That's been taken for a while, Coop. Sorry. That's been trademarked for a while.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, we can't
we can't use that one.
Yeah,
that would be in trouble.
You know what we can do is, once somebody learns how to show up and, having the fine piece of it that we talked about earlier today, but then also the Charlie Mike piece of it. But you've got to learn what that mission is, and you got to be in a good place to be able to accomplish that mission in order to just continue the mission.
In order to even see the mission.
Yep.
You can't see the mission in front of you or what you're supposed to do until you move that darkness and you get out of your own way.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're coming up on just almost an hour and a half, but one of the things I would love for you to do, Lance, is if you don't mind, kind of let people know where they can find, your merchandise, the stuff that you
Absolutely.
do. Would love for people to be able to connect with you on that as well.
Absolutely. If you're looking for us as far as merch, motivational speaking, or our road show, you can find us at wearesfh.com or at any social media at SFH. And then you can also find me on TikTok at Marine Doc, and then you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Lance Price. So,
Nice.
that's it.
And I believe you also are connected on our Nautical Salute group where you've posted about you as well. So
Yeah. Welcome
Yeah,
in, Patricia. Thank you. We've got so Patricia,
Hey,
they actually run the 99% Radio Network, and
Nice.
they are big sponsors of what Heroes in the Sky does. They're one of the key factors of why we're in Texas twice a year,
thanks, Coop.
dedicating battle vests in the great state of Texas because of their support. So welcome in, Patricia. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
You'll know her by her screen name Pitbull if y'all listen to him. But
Well, if
thank
y'all
you
are
for having me.
about to call it, do you guys have anything coming up soon, or
Yeah, so
can I talk about what we have coming up? Go ahead.
absolutely. Dude,
Yeah,
you got the floor right now.
you got the
So-
floor, and then we'll close it out.
Well, Ty and I are doing our longest trip yet. The longest trip before this, we drove to Cincinnati because of Ty being a triple amputee. It's just easier to travel by vehicle than it is by plane because they always fuck up his wheels. But anyway, so this time we are actually driving to the third primary owner of SFH to Pennsylvania, to Pennsylvania. Hanover, PA, and we get the luxury. It's a twofer. We get the luxury of going out there, and he always comes down to Florida because of a lot of our events are down this way. We get to hang out with him, and we also get to talk and represent for the Love of a Veteran, which is the organization that paid for the shot that I got, the SUV shot that has worked wonders for me. So it's going to be awesome. So if you usually don't get to see us because we're always down south and you're near Hanover, PA, don't ask me where it's at. I don't know. I'm just going to follow the directions until I get there. But yeah, come say hello. And what do you
Absolutely.
guys got going on?
So we've actually got a battle vest dedication actually in 2 days. On the
Nice.
16th, we are dedicating a battle vest to VFW Post 660 here in Savannah, Georgia. It is in honor of Comrade Rich. One of their comrades, David Bussing, who was a Marine Corps veteran who lost his internal war. And so we are honoring David and his family, and also 18 other warriors that have died by suicide right here in the Savannah, Georgia area. So if you're in that area listening, come out VFW Post 660 at 3 p.m. on Saturday. And then Sean and I have a lot of other events that we're trying to plan collectively. Let's just put it this way. I'm going to be in Florida quite a bit in the last part
At
of
least
this
quarterly going forward.
Quarterly, yes. I will be in Florida at least quarterly, yes.
Do you want someone to apologize?
No.
Okay, because we're not going to. Anyway.
Yeah.
A lot.
Sean, what do you
Yeah,
got
I mean,
going on?
I mean, wow. Thanks to an awesome introduction that Lance has made for us. Actually, tomorrow morning at 8:45, I'm going to be live on Fox 35 in Orlando talking about Nautical Salute and what we do to assist veterans with PTSD, and also the outlets that we provide through fishing and spending time on the water, and the barbecuing events and the different seafood boils and poker runs to raise awareness and talk about the books as well. And then Monday, Rich is going to, from AKA Combat Kitchen, is going to be on Fox 35 to talk about what we're doing in the initiative with Combat Kitchen and the cooking and bringing food in with veterans. So it's going to be a busy couple of days, and then we've got a big wedding event going on next weekend.
It's worth it. You guys are going to have a ball. She's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Stephanie makes, you're just having a conversation. Yeah, you're just
Yeah,
gonna
and
have
she wants to do a
conversation.
second one later. But get
Right.
this, Rich has to actually cook something live and put it together to kind of talk about. And we're actually going to utilize the menu for the poker run in 2027.
Nice.
Okay.
So we're going to take in some smoked mac and cheese and some ribs
Okay.
there. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we always have these moments in the show, right? And I have to be careful how we do this because I don't want to get, we talk about songs or something that kind of impacts us, right? I don't know if y'all are, and I want to call out a country artist, Taylor Holder. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but and once again, these are not my words. These are from his song. We do not own any of the words. I'm just calling out what he does. But he's got a song
There you go.
that's called "When No One's Around," and I want to read some of these lyrics, and I want y'all to tell me how this hits home. And it's very simple. It says, "When no one's around, I start to drown. So throw me a rope, because I only know one way out. Is this how it ends from losing a fight with myself?" Are those not powerful lyrics? Like,
Oh yeah.
I listen to this song every day for like driving to work. I mean, this song's on repeat, but it brings back so many memories of our feelings when it comes to dealing with trauma and stress and mental health. So what are your thoughts on when you hear those words, Sean?
I'm not alone.
Easy.
Because
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Mhm.
It's like when people text me and they're like, "Man, your latest song that you put out or whatever, or the lyrics to this or your book, it connects with me." And I think that's what it is. It's that connection. I don't have to second guess it. Like those lyrics speak to me.
Yeah. Well, and for me too, it makes me, I start to realize that the closer I get to this community, then I'm not alone. Like, where the lyrics are strong, but for me,
That's
it's
the biggest
like,
goal right there.
I'm not, if I'm having a bad day, I know who to pick up the phone and call, and I know who's going to be there for me. And the best part about this whole journey is that support system grows.
And you know what? Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
Not only is that support system growing, but I'm seeing so much of that support system engaging with us in some of these comments. And that's full circle to me. That's awesome to me that the people that are along this journey with us are in these comments interacting with us, making a difference.
Yeah. Do you still have that clip, the Breaking the Silence clip from the song as well? Do you still have that one, James? I know you post. I think we posted it on some social media.
I have to find the video. I
Gotcha.
wasn't expecting it to, so I gotta go find it. But I'm pretty sure I do somewhere.
Gotcha.
And we'll close this out with the full version of the song that we played a little bit earlier, but it kind of started in the middle. But as we close out, we'll play it one more time. So
I guess before we close this out, are there any other questions in the chat, or is there anything else, Lance, that you would like to kind of talk about and bring up?
No, just to piggyback on what James was saying, though, I know there was times in my darkest, I picked up the phone and just called because I didn't know who to call. Because, like you said, you just feel so alone that you don't think anybody's going to understand. Call anyway. Make the phone call.
Absolutely.
Or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just never know. Yeah. You just never know what that phone call is going to do. You never know. That person you call could be miserable and about to make a choice that they don't have to, and you pick up the phone and change their mind.
Tomorrow night, Rich.
I know you all have changed my mind in my life.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That getting connected to Sean and Jen and Lance, we were all actually in Florida together this past weekend. So being around Rich, we were all there in Florida. So being around this positive group of people has shined so much more on my life than I ever thought would become of it. I'll tell you that. I didn't think I'd ever be somewhere where people actually listened to what I was saying. I didn't think I was worth anything. And you get around the right
positivity and peace start with a P for some reason. They both start with the same letter.
Oh yeah. Tomorrow night. Yes. If you're on TikTok, Lance does have he'll have a live tomorrow night.
Yeah, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, actually I do mornings. But on Sunday, that is the more serious live TikTok, and we actually get into serious stuff. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you want to come hang out, come hang out.
Absolutely.
And what time roughly do you go live in the morning?
9:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I'm not too busy, and then Sunday it's always at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And by the way, if you want to be on one of Lance's panels and you have a positive message to bring to the table, just connect with Lance, and I'm sure if he's not full, he may reach out to you to just at some point to be on a panel. So
I pick all the panelists prior to going up, and I pick them based on the topic. And if there's a topic that you see that resonates you and you'd like to be a panelist, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just, we ended this on a positive conversation, and that was really good. Mm-hmm. But I just want to, for those that are dealing with loss, mental health losses, their loved ones died by suicide. We do want you to know that Heroes in the Sky does have a post-vention outreach panel that they are there for that purpose. Everyone on that panel has dealt with the loss of a loved one to suicide. Different relationships, but they all have a story, and their energies are felt wanting to help other families. So if you've lost a warrior to suicide, and you just lost,
is this another tool like 98.8?
Kind of, because okay. it is nationwide. It's just you email, you go on our website, you read their bios, you choose the panelist you want to talk to, and then
nice.
I make the connection. And then once I make the connection, that's it. That panel member takes that conversation with whatever they need, whatever they're dealing with. They know exactly how to deal with it because they've already walked in those shoes. And so we just connect them. We connect them in that area. So yeah, that's a nationwide
great resource
that anyone can use. And it doesn't mean if you don't have to wait until you've lost a loved one to suicide. If you're seeing signs in a loved one, reach out to us. We'll get you in contact. A lot of our panelists know exactly what the signs look like. They've been through it, and they are there to
move that pendulum.
Yeah, they will help you move that pendulum and help you walk through your grief process.
Yeah. All right. So I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors. Again before we play this video and close it out.
And thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lance. Still fucking here.
Yeah.
Love it. So thank you again to our sponsors, American Legion Post 135 in Savannah, Georgia. American Legion Post 135 is located in historic downtown Savannah at 1108 Bull Street. They are a member of the largest veteran service organization in the nation. They were founded on the principles of service to our veterans and to our community, state, and nation. Their membership is open to any veteran who has served honorably and to active duty service members. They are home to the local 1110 Betty Bombers, Brighter Day, Centennial Bean, Lee Chai, and their bar is open to the public. They hold several events in their ballroom each year. And here's the best part about it. If you're in Savannah, Georgia area, or you're contemplating doing an event in Savannah, you can rent their ballroom at a reasonable rate in beautiful downtown historic Savannah, Georgia. So thank you, American Legion Post 135.
Very nice.
All right. Before we close it out, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Bubber.
And that's and I want to ask everyone in here listening that this reached, help us spread this even more. Share this to your friends, share this to those veterans, first responders, family members that help us fill these lives and just get this word out there. We're so grateful for your support, but we can't do it alone, and we need your help to push it out and circulate it. So if you could help us do that, that would be amazing.
All right. We're going to go ahead and change the screen and get it situated.
Yeah, let's close this out. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
I used to think healing was supposed to sound heroic, like victory speeches, like medals hitting a wooden table, like somebody finally saying, "You made it." But healing sounded more like silence, like sitting in the truck too long after work, because home felt safer when the engine was still running. Like staring at a grocery store aisle, trying to remember why your heart suddenly started racing. Like waking up at 2:13 in the morning, sweating through memories you never asked to keep. See, they trained us to survive the battlefield, but nobody really taught us how to survive ourselves afterward. Nobody talked about how trauma follows you home wearing civilian clothes, how it hides in fireworks, crowded rooms, empty bottles, divorce papers, missed phone calls, and the sentence, "I'm fine." Especially that sentence. I know veterans who carried entire teams on deployment, but struggle to carry groceries inside the house now. Men and women who could navigate chaos overseas, but can't navigate their own thoughts when the room gets quiet. And still, they wake up. Still, they fight. That matters. You hear me? That matters. Because hope isn't always loud. Sometimes hope is just making the appointment, answering the phone, talking for the first time, saying, "No, I don't think I'm okay." That's courage too. Maybe even the purest kind. See, the world loves the image of the warrior, but healing asks something harder. It asks the warrior to become human again, to let people in, to trust again, to stop apologizing for wounds nobody can see. And that process, it's ugly sometimes. There are setbacks, bad nights, anger that shows up uninvited, days where depression feels heavier than body armor ever did. But there are also moments, small moments, where light gets through. A kid's laugh, a sunrise after a sleepless night, brothers and sisters sitting around a table finally telling the truth, a stranger saying, "Me too." That's where healing begins. Not in pretending the trauma never happened, but in realizing the trauma doesn't get to write the ending. You survived war. You survived loss. You survived becoming someone you barely recognized. Now comes the hardest mission of all, believing you deserve peace too. And maybe peace doesn't mean forgetting. Maybe peace is learning that your scars are not proof you're broken. They're proof you kept going. So to every veteran still fighting battles nobody sees, you are not weak for needing help. You are not forgotten. And your story, it is not over.